Hi everyone, I'm Reena, and this is Resonant Space. So the thought for today is, you can't create in negatives. So back when I first started composing, I remember kind of sketching out this idea for this wind quintet, and I thought it was really beautiful. It was this kind of simple D minor extension-y feeling, and there were these beautiful little textures that kind of dovetailed over one another, and I thought it was great. And then I took it to a lesson with one of my teachers, my very first teachers, and I remember he kind of took one look at it and said, well, you don't want to write like that, do you? And I thought, oh, I did want to write like that, but maybe I shouldn't, or, maybe this isn't the right way to write. And I remember this doubt starting to creep into my mind of thinking, oh gosh, I don't want to sound like that. That's weird, maybe I can't really trust my intuition anymore. And I think this idea of not wanting to sound a certain way is kind of based in fear. And it's maybe fear of judgment. Just the idea that if your ideas aren't sophisticated enough, if they're not revolutionizing the world, if they're, you're not writing like these 3 notes that are going to completely make the entire history of music go in a different direction, then, maybe you shouldn't even be writing it down at all. And so we get into this habit of thinking like, okay, well, I don't want to sound like that. I don't want to sound like that. I don't want to sound like that. And eventually, basically, there's nothing left to sound like on the page, and you're just completely paralyzed. And so, I've battled with this my whole life. I've had those doubts really creep in. And I think for me, the antidote is that I have to start with something. And maybe that something is incredibly flawed. Maybe it's just this very simple harmony or this texture that I kind of like or don't like, but it has something in it and something that I can kind of start to work with. And I think 2 things happen. It goes one of 2 ways, where either, this idea that is not quite working kind of gives way to something else that's more beautiful and that I like more and that really feels more like me, or the other thing might happen, which is that you actually really start to like that idea. And you start to stand up for it, and when you keep on working with it, you realize that you need to get behind it and you actually do need to believe in that idea. But regardless of which way it goes, just remember, when you're working, you always have to have some place to start. You can't create in negatives.